Hi, today we're going to be talking about a safety and pre-departure briefing aboard a boat. You can think about it like a pre-game pep talk with your passengers. So we're going to go aboard here today and we're going to talk about where you can find the fire extinguisher, all of the safety gear on board, all of the things that if there was an emergency, everybody would know how to safely access and use the gear that you have. Hi, I'm Captain Sarah Lawrence. I'm here today with Chesapeake Boating Academy and TowBoatUS Kent Narrows, working with BoatUS. And today we're going to be talking about the safety and pre-departure briefing. I really like to start my briefing dockside and show people the best way to board the boat. So in this case, to board this boat, we like to grab here and the bimini top and then step aboard, and it's 3 steps into the cockpit. You always want to make sure your boat is cinched nice and tight to the dock so that people don't fall in between the dock and the boat. We're gonna do our safety briefing, which I think about as a pre-game pep talk. I like to get it exciting, and I do it in the same method every single time so that I never forget. So Stacy, here's a sheet for you, so you can visually reference as I'm speaking. I'll start with life jackets. They're like a seatbelt. They really only do work if they're being worn. I like to keep a PLB, this is a personal locator beacon, in mine. If there was ever an emergency, I could flip this up, press the button, and it would send a satellite signal to the Coast Guard or Air Force of my exact location. So these are a great extra layer of protection to have aboard. Now we're going to talk about this Type 4 throwable. You're required to have these aboard, and they need to be easily accessible on the boat. You can see on ours that we like to label them. The reason is, if things are found floating out in the water, such as kayaks, paddleboards, canoes, life jackets, floats, it triggers a search and rescue. So part of being a safe and responsible boater is labeling your gear so you can get your gear back and people know whether they need to come looking for you or not. I really like to keep everything together so I know where it is and it's easily accessible. So I'm going to show you what we've got in one of our orange boxes here. We're talking about gear that is U.S. Coast Guard required and some additional gear that's not required but is smart to have aboard. We do have a first aid kit aboard. So this is your basic first aid kit. We've added to ours a tourniquet. This would be in the event of a propeller strike or something happening where a person's bleeding. I've also added icing. This would be if somebody's got low blood sugar or if they're hypothermic, one of the first things you want to do is get them in the boat and give them a little bit of sugar in their cheek. I like to keep Dramamine aboard for anybody that might be feeling seasick. And it's not a bad idea to have some Benadryl either. Also in here, I've got a pair of binoculars, and these are going to be for when we go out and we're keeping lookout. It's a great idea to keep a really bright flashlight aboard. My boat doesn't have a spotlight, so if I'm ever stuck out in times of reduced visibility or nighttime, it's very bright and I can shine it on the channel markers and on other boats to let them know where I am. We're going to show you what we have in our next box here. You are required to have flares aboard. Flares are very important. They're visual distress signals. They're a way that will signal to other boats in an emergency that you need assistance. So the way that you would use these is you pop the top off, okay? You hold it over the downwind side of the boat and you strike it like a match, all right? You're gonna hold it over the side until it's done burning. It's a great idea to also have an electronic visual distress signal. So these are Coast Guard approved, basically strobe lights. And what they're gonna do is this is gonna burn for 90 hours versus a flare which might only burn for 1 to 3 minutes. You're also required to have a sound producing device. This is an air horn. We have one up on the console at the helm. But if I were ever having to abandon, this would be one of the things that I took with me. It's gonna make a loud noise and make it easier for people to find me. We hope you're never gonna have to use any of the items in here, but in case you do, it's really important to let all of your guests aboard know where everything is so that they can access it, just in case anything were to ever happen to the owner or the operator. We're gonna make our way up to the helm now, but we did wanna let you know that on our boat, we always wear life jackets. We know that might not be the case on your boat, so it's very important to at least let your guests and passengers know where they can access the life jackets. All right, this is a VHF radio. You would be surprised how many people think this is actually where you play music. So it's very important to show your guests just a couple of the key features. One of them is channel 16. You always want to stand by on channel 16. It's for hailing in distress. It's how you can call for help, how other boats can call you, and how you can call them. When you see a radio with this little red button here, that means it's a DSC, Digital Selective Calling Radio. You can get a 9-digit number, it's an MMSI number, for free if you're a BoatUS member, and you can enter it into the radio. If you're ever in imminent distress, you can press this distress button and it will alert all of the boaters in the surrounding area of your exact location. It's also really important to let your passengers know how to make a mayday call if there's ever an emergency. They would do that on channel 16. They would talk into the microphone. They would say mayday 3 times, state the nature of distress, the boat that they're in, and then give the coordinates to the location, which can be found right here on the screen of the radio. There's a new federal law in effect now that if you're on a boat 26 feet or less, the operator is required to be wearing the engine cutoff switch. What this does is if the boat is on and you're out and this pops off, the engine will immediately shut off. This is something that you're required to wear if you're going above displacement speed. So in my boat, as soon as I start to go above 6 or 7 knots, you have to be wearing this. The reason is people are getting thrown overboard and the boat would be spinning circles. It's much better to have the engine turn off immediately. Today, we're going to be wearing our wireless engine cutoff switches. So everybody aboard the boat, passengers, kids, dogs, I put these on everyone. This works by connecting to the boat, and if you get more than 100 feet away from the helm, the engine will automatically turn off. Then the person can either swim back to the boat, or the person driving can restart the boat and turn around and pick up the person in the water. It's important to let everybody know where your fire extinguishers are located. I actually have 2 aboard. I keep one here on the port side in the cockpit. From time to time, I will flip them upside down so that the powder doesn't compact at the bottom. If you needed to use it, you would pop the pin, squeeze here, and aim at the base of the fire. I also keep another one right here in the cabin on the port side. I always like to do my safety pre-departure briefing the exact same way every time so that I don't forget. It's really important with your passengers to let them know where to sit, what to expect, where the safety gear is, because they might not know anything about your boat or where they're going out on the water. BoatUS has a great checklist. Print it out, bring it aboard, and take it with you every time you go in case you forget. If there's anything that we have forgotten, leave it in the comments below. We hope you have a great day and we'll see you on the water.